Imagine being just a teen who is expected to have everything normal and ordinary. Yet, because you happen to be the son of one of the most powerful and influential men in the world, you can't live a simple, quiet life. That's Barron Trump's reality. Is he breaking free after all the years of chaos and buzz? At 18, Barron just might want to say, "This should be over. I can't take it anymore, and I'm going to expose it all." Does Barron like his life or abhor it? Let's set the record straight. When you see Barron on TV and read about him in the paper, he seems to be neutral about his celebrity status as the son of Donald and Melania. For starters, Barron isn't exactly broadcasting his thoughts on Twitter or Instagram. He doesn't even have his own public social media accounts. That absence suggests he's not chasing the kind of celebrity status that comes from deliberately stirring up controversy or making bold, rebellious statements. Instead, his story unfolds mostly through third-party observations, a snapshot here, a candid campus photo there. It's almost as if his mystique has grown simply because he's rarely seen or heard from directly. At the same time, one might imagine that growing up in such an extraordinary family, with a constant entourage of Secret Service agents and the pressure of being part of a political dynasty, could spark a rebellious reaction. However, reports from those who have observed him on campus indicate that he tends to follow a very structured, almost ghost-like routine. His life is meticulously managed. Motorcades, tight security, and a schedule that hardly leaves room for the kind of unsupervised freedom where one might experiment with pushing boundaries. In a way, Barron's situation is a bit of a double-edged sword. While the public and media have built up this almost legendary image of him, filled with rumors about his potential influence, charisma, and even romantic allure, the reality seems to be that he's more of a bystander in his own life. He's been painted as both a blank canvas and an emblem of his father's legacy, yet there's little sign that he's intentionally leaning into that role, either by rebelling against it or by eagerly soaking up the limelight. Well, it appears that Barron Trump isn't out there deliberately carving a rebellious identity, nor does he seem to be actively embracing the spotlight for its own sake. His life is largely dictated by the circumstances he was born into, a high-profile, high-security environment where every move is under scrutiny. In such a scenario, the absence of a loud, rebellious personality might actually be his way of staying true to the one thing he can control, living a relatively normal student life amid an extraordinary backdrop. About his thoughts? We never really know, but since he's okay with some media exposure and reappearing with his parents during major events, we could guess he's okay with it. Do you agree? Growing up in the spotlight from the moment Barron Trump entered the world, his life was set on a path few can imagine. He was born into an environment where personal moments often find themselves entangled with global headlines. Even as a young kid, Barron's life has been a study in contrasts, balancing the extraordinary with the everyday. He had a childhood unlike any other. Barron's early years were anything but ordinary. Imagine growing up in a world where your family is a constant topic of discussion in boardrooms and newsrooms alike. While most kids are worried about schoolyard games and cartoons, Barron's backdrop included high-rise luxury, political rallies, and even the iconic halls of the White House. Despite these monumental surroundings, his parents have made a concerted effort to let him enjoy the simple pleasures of childhood, playing with friends, exploring hobbies, and just being a kid. Living in the White House is something few children can say they've experienced. For Barron, the historic residence was not just a symbol of political power, but also a place where normal family routines took on a legendary twist. Whether it was a quiet meal in the dining room or a playful moment in the White House garden, these experiences were set against a backdrop that most of us only see in movies or history books. Yet, even in such an environment, Barron's life was punctuated by ordinary kid moments, an important reminder that behind the grandeur, he's just a young person discovering the world. Being in the public eye comes with its own set of challenges. Every public outing, family photo, or even a candid moment can spark a flurry of media attention. For Barron, this means that the boundary between private life and public spectacle is always shifting. His parents have tried to shield him from the constant glare of the media, opting for private schooling and low-key family routines whenever possible. But despite these efforts, the buzz of public interest is never far away, highlighting the unique challenge of growing up under a microscope. The balancing act of fame and normalcy. On one hand, being born into the Trump family means that every move, smile, or even a casual outing can attract media attention and public speculation. From his early days in luxurious settings to his brief stint at the White House, every aspect of his environment has been punctuated by a spotlight that most children could only imagine. Yet, despite this high-profile backdrop, Barron's upbringing has been consciously steered toward normalcy. His parents have taken steps, such as private schooling and keeping his daily routines away from the limelight, to ensure that he experiences the kind of childhood many of us remember: playing with friends, exploring hobbies, and simply growing up without the burden of constant public judgment. For Barron, the pressures of living up to a famous name and the potential expectations that come with it are counterbalanced by the need to simply be a kid. This duality of life reminds us that even those who seem larger than life are, at heart, ordinary human beings with the same hopes, dreams, and challenges as anyone else. Do you think Barron lives the life he wants to have and enjoy? Everyday challenges meet extraordinary circumstances. Imagine trying to enjoy a simple day at the park when you know that your every move could be dissected by the media. Yet, in the midst of such extraordinary circumstances, there remains a strong pull toward the universal experiences of childhood: making friends, learning new things, and just having fun. It's this blend of being thrust into a historical narrative while also yearning for the simplicity of everyday life that makes his journey so compelling. His story is a reminder that fame doesn't erase the universal need for privacy, normal interactions, and personal space. In a broader cultural context, Barron's experience speaks volumes about the pressures of growing up in an era where personal lives are often public property. His life highlights the challenges faced by many in the public eye: how to carve out a sense of self amid external expectations, and how to maintain a private, authentic identity even when the world is watching. This intersection of fame and normalcy isn't just unique to him. It's a recurring theme in our modern landscape where social media and relentless media scrutiny have blurred the lines between the public and the private. Barron Trump's life so far is a vivid reminder that no matter how extraordinary our circumstances may seem, the core of human experience remains the same. Growing up in front of the world's eyes can be overwhelming, yet it also teaches resilience and the importance of carving out personal space in a world eager to define you. His journey highlights a timeless truth: behind every public figure is a person with hopes, dreams, and the innate desire for a life that feels genuinely their own. Barron's story is more than just the tale of a famous kid. It's a narrative about the universal challenges of growing up. It's about finding a way to enjoy the wonders of youth while navigating the intense scrutiny that comes with being born into a life that is anything but ordinary. A childhood spent in extraordinary surroundings meant that Barron's early years were anything but ordinary. Instead of the typical suburban playground or the dream of a backyard full of adventures, Barron's world was a blend of high-rise luxury and historic significance, a cocktail of glamour, scrutiny, and sheer unexpectedness. Imagine this. While most kids are busy building forts or planning epic treehouse escapades, Barron found himself with a front-row seat to some of the most iconic scenes in modern American history. From the towering skyline of New York City to the illustrious corridors of the White House, his environment was more than just a backdrop. It was a character in its own right. In New York City, where skyscrapers meet an endless array of cultures and experiences, Barron's early life was steeped in the energy and vibrancy that only a metropolis like that can offer. The city's rhythm, its ever-changing landscape, and its constant buzz likely painted his childhood with hues of excitement and possibility. But then, the scene shifted dramatically when he moved into the White House, a place synonymous with political power and historical legacy. Living in the White House is something most of us can only dream about. It's not every day that a kid gets to call a national treasure home. Instead of neighborhood baseball games and simple visits to a local park, Barron was surrounded by the weight of tradition and the echo of decisions that shape nations. Even if the everyday moments were carefully tucked away from the media frenzy, the very walls he grew up around carried stories of the past and hints of the future. This blend of settings, luxurious city life followed by the gravity of national leadership, created a childhood that was as unique as it was challenging.